I mean, Riley Cooper, I mean, like, that dude deserves a statue. I mean, like,
number one on your speed dial.
Hey, I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I didn't know until a couple days after the fact. I was like, wait a minute, is he the MVP? Or, like, we got the all-tournament team?
No doubt about it.
And then Ty Floyd, when I struck out 17, and, like, stole it from him. But I was like, when has a pitcher, like, been a part of, like, 5 of the 6 wins in Omaha? I mean, what a performance.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time.
Pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Sure, I'm a little late, boys, at the spring game, obviously, as you can see. A couple of booze cruises here to do. Let's do it. Cruise. Grand salami to the boys. Finally back on track. And I got another one coming. Don't you think I don't? And that's how we roll in Tiger Stadium.
Just watching the spring games that were on television, one thing that jumped out about your squad is your quarterback room is very talented compared to a lot of the league and a lot of the country. I wonder, is it easier to recruit that position when you have talent or when you don't have talent? Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. There's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question, I thought, my God, if Chica is offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we live, we open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show, yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right.
Big start. Big day.
Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. All right, welcome into a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. As always, we are built by our friends over at RMB Builders, Rhett Bourgeois and the crew at rmb-builders.com. And on Instagram at RMB Builders, you can find them. Whether it's a custom design home, you need reconstruction, get in touch with RMB Builders. And tell Rhett and the crew that you heard it right here. We're live on the campus of Click Here Digital every single day. Click Here Digital houses us. We are a part of Click Here Digital, and we love it, man. They are located on Interline in between Airline and Drusilla over here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 20,000 square feet of office space, over 120 employees on the ground here. Got 30 more remote working and coming up with digital marketing plans that work for you. Google ads, social media ads. Get in touch with me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com. All right, we got a text into our boy Joseph Cryer, Big Hoss.
Big Hoss. It earned the nickname.
Out of Natchitoches Central, who was on an official visit this weekend for LSU football versus Grambling. We will hopefully link up with him at some point before he starts school at 7:45 this morning.
Well,
but
he was supposed to come on yesterday, but why couldn't he?
He can, right. We had him scheduled to come on yesterday, but him and his old man, him and his dad got him on the field because he said he just saw some things on Friday night they needed to work on. So he's
out there doing drills on Sunday night.
and his old man
Got to get them kickbacks.
You see that
Coach.
pass set?
up in North Louisiana.
Let's get some snaps.
working on.
Look, you
on
see
a
Lance
couple of
Hurd out there
pass
at right
stances.
tackle?
Yeah, man.
You think you're going to play?
Lance
Let's go get
Hurd's
some
one of
work.
the best five. A couple of takeaways. We did do a Sunday night show. We will be there Sunday night each week, and we will be taking phone calls and just doing kind of a reaction to what we see each Saturday. LSU going to be in Starkville taking on Mississippi State this weekend for an 11 a.m. kickoff. Mississippi State needed overtime and 5 takeaways to beat Arizona this weekend at Davis Wade. This game coming up this weekend, you would think LSU would be able to overmatch, but it just feels like a pesky Mississippi State squad with a new coach, new identity. Will Rogers is not throwing the ball.
Getting supplanted.
17
They're
times.
running two quarterback system.
Quarterback system over there in Starkville. So we will talk a little bit about that matchup. Of course, Brian Kelly meets with the press today. We do have cut-ups from Brian Kelly post-game on Saturday, and we will revisit some of our thoughts from Saturday's game as well. The AP and the coaches poll are out. LSU remains 14 in both of them going into conference play. And after a couple of big wins and a couple of big shakeups this weekend, you are looking at a top 5 that does not feature the SEC. In fact, you are looking at the top 10 outside of Georgia, which is the number 1 team, and they have not been pressed. They have not been they have not been pushed. Georgia's still number 1, but you got to get all the way to number 10 before you find another SEC team, and that is Alabama. Bama fell this weekend against Texas, and for the second straight week, we have seen SEC teams shoved around. I know that the SEC fan base is trying to track and trying to claim Texas and Oklahoma before they make the official jump in July of 2024. But right now they are a part of the Big 12, and a Big 12 team went into Tuscaloosa and bullied Alabama. That game in the second half was not close. And I would say the same for what happened down in South Beach with Miami hosting Texas A&M this weekend, where Miami just shoved Texas A&M around. I mean, they have just made either enormous strides in recruiting, or the gap between the SEC and the rest of the college football world has been closed immediately. Because if you look at 2 weekends, going back to the opening weekend a week ago, where Florida State just punched LSU in the mouth, North Carolina skull drug South Carolina up and down the field last weekend, to fast forwarding a week ahead where Alabama is bullied by Texas and Miami beats up on Texas A&M.
Florida State.
You can even talk about Utah and Florida.
Florida State LSU.
No, I mean, that was the first one I said.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just – but you take 2 weekends of college football away, and one of the most glaring bullet points that I come away with is that the SEC is lost a lot of ground as far as being the dominant conference within the sport. I mean, and that's not just by, kind of hearsay and people, coming, like trying to make things up. That's the work on the field. I mean, that's what you see on the field, and it's not like you're throwing Vanderbilt out there, which, by the way, Vanderbilt was steamrolled by Wake Forest this weekend. I mean, and
Vanderbilt had a pulse. Like, this is the first year it felt like they were kind of coming off the heels of a year where it felt like they were going to win more than 3 games for once, and then you get steamrolled by Wake Forest. We were having this conversation on Saturday. Is this good or bad for LSU to see the SEC kind of, I don't know what to say, level the playing field? Did you want to see these teams win because LSU still has everything in front of them? Or would you rather them drop a game, and then if LSU gets to where it's supposed to be, the win doesn't matter as much?
Well, I think for LSU's case, you'd like Florida State to be dominant.
Right.
I think that you would love to see Florida State end up in a Final Four so you can really kind of use that
Coattail.
as absolutely.
Well, that's what we were saying about Alabama. If LSU fans wanted them to win or lose, because you match up, that November game holds so much water. If they win and they're undefeated, and you take your first SEC loss to an Alabama team that's undefeated, as opposed to looking like it looked Saturday, it doesn't hold as much water.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's two ways to look at it, but
Right.
I think that you want the strength of schedule to be as strong as possible, right? Like I think ultimately that's the case you want to make, is that your strength of schedule is as strong as it can be. And for LSU's case, in fact, you want these teams to continue to win, right? I mean, like you want that game to be as built up as much as possible. It's lost a lot of its luster after what happened in the first 2 weekends of the season, where LSU gets beat up and then Alabama gets crushed. I hadn't seen Alabama. Like, I mean, you've seen LSU in that circumstance a time or two over the last 5-6 years. You've rarely seen Alabama be the team that is getting driven off of the ball and flat backed onto the playing surface like they were in the second half on Saturday night. So we will talk more about that and the conference coming up in the second hour today. We'll take your reaction as well, and we'll revisit what happened to LSU, or what we learned versus Grambling from LSU on Saturday night. And I would pose the question that way: what did we take away from Saturday? First and foremost, last week we were, I think, joining the crowd of people wondering where are all of the players that we heard about in the buildup of the season? Where are guys like Chris Hilton? And Chris Hilton comes out very early and gets a target where he's 5-6 yards behind the defensive back, makes a really good catch with his hands over the top of the defense for his first touchdown of the year. Like we were screaming into this microphone last week, I would do that once a game. I would do that once a half to back up the defense out of the box against LSU. Where was Denver Harris? Denver Harris got some run very early on. Now I think everybody is looking at Denver Harris's play, and you say, well, he gave up a touchdown and he was called for a personal foul. Agreed. There were some moments that Denver Harris would like to have back. These are not excuses, but we cannot forget that was the first time that Denver Harris had been on a football field in just about a year, in nearly a year. And whether it was the competition, whether it was the first time being out there, whatever it was, there was some time of, you needed to kind of catch your feet, kind of get everything underneath you, and making sure, that you knew what was going on. But after the touchdown that he gave up and after the interception, I got to be honest, I liked what I saw from Denver Harris. I thought that he competed. He was around the ball. Even the touchdown that he gave up, he was in really good position. And if I'm being completely honest, I was thoroughly impressed with Grambling's quarterback, Miles Crawley. That guy was throwing dimes. The touchdown pass being a great example of that. I mean, that ball was placed in a spot where only Kellen Elder, I believe, made the touchdown grab, was the one who could haul it in. Or excuse me, that was J.R. Waters for Grambling who made the catch. But Miles Crawley, the quarterback for Grambling, was very impressive. And you started to see some of these guys that we were wondering, where are they? We saw Lance Hurd, like we talked about, still looking for Quincy Wiggins. Like, still looking for Big 93.
And Savion, I'd like to see.
I'd like to see a little more out of Savion.
That's what I'm saying. I know he's playing, but I would like to see him.
Yeah.
Feel him.
Not getting enough.
But the biggest takeaway and the biggest concern has to be the defense, right? Like, the defense, the first 3 drives of the game for LSU defensively was alarming. I mean, like, the missed tackles, the out of position, the defensive backs being,
15 yards off the ball.
I thought, like, really, I kind of had to, like, scrub my eyes. Like, I was like, what am I looking at? Like, LSU being 15, 12, 10 yards off the ball at the defensive back spot is just, it is a sight that it's like seeing Bigfoot. I mean, it's like watching LSU in cover 3 that far off the ball like that it's amazing. I mean, like, I was on X during the game, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there was like recruits that were like, what are they playing? I saw Jawan Johnson was like, play press, all caps. You know, it's like, I mean, like, they're even like, what's going on?
We want to press, coach.
Like, step up and defend these guys, compete, challenge this group. I mean, it is, when you look at some of the deficiencies on defense, you thought low-hanging fruit you get fixed. Mason Smith comes back in. He plugs a couple of holes in the middle, which he played a lot on Saturday. You thought you slide Harold Perkins out, which they did, put him in a pass rush situation, and his numbers would improve, and he'd get pressure on the quarterback. He was back there, just couldn't close. He made one good, nice, aggressive, open field tackle. But watching the defensive backs play, see, that's the part that is so concerning about LSU, where there's some things that you knew you could fix immediately. Like, you get Mason Smith back, that helps you. You can move Harold Perkins around and probably put him in the right spot. It looks like you got an issue at linebacker now with personnel, because for 2 straight weeks, number one, Omar Speights has been underwhelming. He has looked a step and a half slow out there. He has looked as if the speed of this change, even though they have not played a conference game yet,
tackle
is maybe a lot for him up to this point. I just, evaluating what you've seen through 2 games, the linebacking personnel is not exactly what at least I believed going into the season that it was going to be.
And there's no way to fix it.
And so, like, that's another issue again that you're talking about. I don't know how you fix that. I mean, there's no
personnel.
There's no free agency pool. There's no waiver wire. There's nothing that you can jump into and try and, shop talent. You have to play with the hand that you got at this point. And after Spates, you got true freshmen. You got Whit Weeks. You got you got guys that necessarily don't play that position, right? I mean, so when I look at linebacker and I look at defensive back on LSU's team, they're in a bad spot. They're in a tough spot. And I think, you look at the origin of it, and it's based in recruiting. Recruiting is the ultimate issue, where you have missed on guys like Desmond Ricks. You think about a guy like Desmond Ricks, who just immediately is an example that you can point to and say the number 1 cornerback in the country, who was all LSU throughout the entire recruiting process, and even when he puts the Alabama hat on, nearly pledges to LSU because of how close it was, but you miss at the end. I mean, guys like that are misses that have happened over the last couple of cycles that are really showing on the field on Saturdays. So ultimately, this is a recruiting discussion. But when you look at what's happening on the field in the 2023 edition, I just don't know how you fix it. I mean, I don't, unless the play improves vastly, which getting Denver Harris on the field, I think will make a marketable improvement. But when you look around at that position, you just have to be curious on if this is the selection, or these are the horses that you take to the fight. I mean, I'm a second week into college football just like everybody else. I'm looking around and watching who LSU plays. Nobody, while being, like, monumentally fearful of somebody that you match up against, you still look at the options that teams have, like Texas A&M and Arkansas and Alabama and Ole Miss and even Mississippi State, of guys that they're going to have to guard this weekend. And I don't know if LSU has any advantage. And I'm just being realistic. I mean, I watch teams play. Texas A&M's got 3 wide receivers that are going to be tough to guard. Ole Miss has got a wide receiver core that is going to be really tough to guard. Arkansas's got a couple of guys that can run good routes, and KJ Jefferson is a quarterback through the first 2 weeks who looks really good. Alabama's got a crew that can run. I mean, it's not the 2019 wide receiver core. It's not even the 2020 wide receiver group, but it's a okay group when you look at LSU's defensive backs that you say, I don't know where LSU has the advantage.
I mean, you could put anybody on the schedule at this point, not feel like you have.
By the way,
a
Keon
defensive
Coleman
advantage.
He's not real.
Good Lord. I mean,
Need
was
Will
he
Wade back
that bad coming out of high school?
No, he was that good.
Okay,
Just
well, I mean,
a
how do you miss that guy from Opelousas?
late bloomer?
That's what I'm saying. Needed Will Wade on campus to get him.
Holy cow.
He got Quincy.
He got out of Michigan State just in time.
Oh my goodness. God. That's why he left.
Michigan State.
These meetings are weird.
It's getting weird over here, Coach.
Mel Tucker.
I think I'm going
Could
to
be
transfer.
the biggest bag fumble of all time.
All time.
All time. I mean, like, 10-year, $95 million contract, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Every dime of it, guaranteed. Unless you violate a morality clause that, when you look at the wording on it, it's pretty vague. Like, I mean, like,
they gave you every out.
Absolutely. Like, they have left themselves.
Could have started that 70s show.
A wide open out.
Jesus, 30 years for that guy.
Oh, he's in jail forever. Mel Tucker.
Mel Tucker, within not even a year, or just over 13 months. He signed the contract November of 21. In December of 22, he gets.
Does the agent still get paid?
He gets a claim. I don't know how any of this works.
This is bad, Coach.
It's so bad.
Oh my God.
It is so bad.
There's pictures of him and this woman together.
He couldn't have done it any more wrong. Like, there's no wiggle room in this. What are you doing?
It is,
when you look into the case and who it was with and at what point did you think that this was a good idea?
It's the
or
biggest,
consensual.
I'm telling you, it is. He is admitted to this, and I don't want to go into the details of the case, especially in the 7:00 hour where there's probably kids still in the car. You can a simple Google search right now of Mel Tucker will describe the situation of what is going on. But really, a short version of it is Brenda Tracy, who is a prominent activist and rape survivor. And this is like there is no, this is not a light subject at all. I mean, Brenda Tracy was the subject of just some of the harshest and some of the most grotesque things that you could imagine happening to someone she went through. And a part of her recovery process is telling her story. And she is invited routinely to speak in front of rooms, whether it be corporations, teams, large groups of people. And Michigan State football brought her around to
prevent situations like this,
their athletes, on these types of harassing, sexually compromising situations that can happen pretty quickly when you've got, a lot of people around. And throughout this process, Mel Tucker is harassing Brenda Tracy, and Tracy comes forward with a report. Now, the investigation wrapped up in July, and there is a scheduled hearing in early October, which happens to be Michigan State's bye weekend. And Michigan State looks terrible on this. Again, after the Larry Nassar situation, which was discovered by an independent newspaper in Indianapolis that came forth with the findings after a thorough investigation and outed Larry Nassar, and moreover showed the cover-up at Michigan State where people were routinely, knowingly heard about the things that Nassar was doing and just nothing was happening, whether it be on campus or whether it was in the university police department. And Michigan State was, for as much as Nassar was, just pummeled by the public, obviously so, for his terrible crimes and now serving a life sentence because of it, there was as much PR backlash and fall to Michigan State for what they had known throughout the process for so long and felt like they had covered up. And now the situation where the athletic director and the president came out over the last 24 hours, and the interim president had to say in a statement that, I know this feels like the old MSU where it's not. Well, it is, right? Because it's mind-boggling that people in power, people in leadership think that the public is so dumb. It's wild that people in these types of situations think that they can stand up on a podium and say, well, we knowingly, you knew about it in July. You knew ultimately what was going to happen in October when it did hit the public. The whole time, the coach has admitted to what was alleged against him. So you've got pretty much the smoking gun. And for as bad of PR and as much as Michigan State fumbled the Larry Nassar situation, they've seemingly done the same thing with this Mel Tucker situation.
This is bad.
And if you read the details of this report, I mean,
Oh my goodness.
it is
Stay on
first
the
and
phone.
foremost, the individual that this is happening with. I cannot think of someone who would be, I don't want to use the wrong word here, but really worse to do this with. I mean, it is
A shocking situation.
It is just from a leadership professionalism standpoint, the unawareness and
Well, you talk about ego and head coaching
the
a
poor
lot.
decision making that is in this. It's an all-timer. This is the all-time worst bag fumble I have ever seen. I'm trying to remember another one. I'm trying to recall something that Michael Vick.
Oh,
They've been knowing about this since December of 2022. She filed this claim in December of 2022. So they've been knowing about this for a while. She was their honorary captain at the spring game this year, too.
Holy
God.
cow, man.
It gets worse, Coach.
Mellium.
There's nothing.
It always gets worse before it gets
There's
better.
nothing to smile about. There's nothing funny about this. I mean, it is whatever comes out of it. Mel Tucker will never coach at Michigan State ever again. And I know
he'll
that there's
ever
people
coach again.
I know that there's people like, well, I mean, how can they suspend him before the report? Like, man, read the report. He admitted to it. He admitted and said that he did what is being alleged, but he's claiming that it was consensual. I mean, like, whether it was consensual or it was harassment at this point, the story, there's no way you could put him in a living room talking to a mom about recruiting ever again. and expect the competition not to come right behind him and be like, yo, I mean, you did read that report, right? It's one of the all-time biggest blunders I can ever recall. So
there's that.
It's, I mean, you look at the week, and then did you see did you see the
9/11,
the Art Briles story?
Oh, God.
At Oklahoma.
What happened to him?
Over the weekend. So Jeff, the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, is Art Briles' son-in-law.
It's not.
It's not. Kendall Browse is the offensive coordinator at TCU, right?
Right. It is Jeff Levy. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Who was at Ole Miss?
Jeff Levy.
Previously, right?
And Levy.
Yeah.
And that is Art Briles' son-in-law. He was on that Baylor staff with Art Briles.
Do they just draw up plays at the dinner table?
Art Briles.
Thanksgiving must be interesting.
Shows up to the game this weekend, and it's got Oklahoma gear on.
Oh, God.
Like he's walking around with Oklahoma gear. And you've got Brett Venables and the athletic director like coming out being like, look, this can't happen. And Levy coming out saying like, would you expect my father-in-law not to show up to a game?
Like, this guy's a
like
legendary college football
it's my
coach.
wife's dad. So, I mean, Oklahoma can thank Michigan State for stealing the headlines and stealing the news, but they're in it as well. Remember Weekly, we are brought to you by our friends over at Katie's Restaurant. Katie's Restaurant, located down in New Orleans. They're located on Iberville Street. You can find them right in the heart of Mid-City. As Katie's is bringing you great selections of food every single day. Hopefully you got over there and experienced the new Sunday hours yesterday, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. With a commitment to pre- and post-game for you NFL watchers over there. The Dome looked like it was rocking yesterday for an ugly Titans-Saints game.
They're not
Saints
good.
Win by 1 point late in that game.
Saints
But
look like LSU on
if you're looking for a place to go watch NFL action, you can always do that at Katie's. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com. And wanted to get everybody in here and let the chat fill up before we did recognize that today is September 11th, and want to also really remember everybody that was affected that day in our history. It's still a place I think everybody can recall where you were, your exact timing, when you heard about it, when you saw it, when you felt it for the first time. And I know that there's memorials happening all over our country today, but we definitely want to remember our brothers and sisters here on 9/11 here, which is crazy. What is it? Is it 22 years ago? Yeah. I mean, there's people in college that weren't even alive for 9/11.
Ron wasn't alive. Like, I was talking to Ron about this yesterday, and he was like, yeah, I was in my mom's stomach. And I was like, yeah, I was 5. Like, I remember it, like, a little bit because of, like, how flights changed. But, I mean, I remember just watching it on the TV. That's pretty much it.
I was in college.
Whoa.
Then my dad had to deploy, like, right after that.
I remember.
Whoa.
We were. Yeah. Yep. I mean, and I was actually getting up and like going to class.
Okay.
First
Jordan.
time.
No,
okay.
it really was.
First time this semester.
Okay.
It really was kind of wild. I mean, if you remember it, I mean,
Syllabus week's over.
Like the
This is when you first start going to school.
8:50.
Yeah.
And the second plane hit about 20 minutes after that, 25 minutes after that. And in between the first and second plane hitting, like I was in the shower for the first one, and when I came out, like the morning shows, I just turned on the television, and like even like ESPN was kind of like in like even like kind of report like a plane had flown into the
World
and
Trade
you're kind of
Center.
flipping back and forth, and like you were on like some. I remember being on like what would be like CBS this morning, or ABC this morning, or NBC this morning, and
Fox and Friends.
there was a live shot of the smoke coming out of one of the towers, and then like on your television screen you just see the plane, the second plane, like flying in, and you can almost hear like people like talking like, is that another plane? Is that thing looks like it's not pulling up, and then boom, makes contact, and the next thing you know, I mean, the whole mood of I mean, really, I mean, looking back on it, life changed, but just that day on how, and I still remember the shot of President Bush was down in Florida, like speaking to like a kindergarten
He was
class.
reading a book.
Yeah, he was like reading to like an elementary school, and like his
That meme is.
I mean, his media director leaning into him and like being like, "Yo, man,
We got issues.
Like the second plane.
Get to
like-
the end of this
like-
book.
Yeah, like close up shop here. We got to get out of here." And then like Louisiana being a part of that day. If you remember, like Barksdale Air Force in Shreveport was one of the spots where I believe they brought the president or either refueled Air Force One because they kept him in the air throughout the day to kind of play it safe.
That'd be
Well, they had like 2 jets on the side of the
Oh,
wings.
yeah.
But I remember that they spent time at Barksdale Air Force Base.
It's not a good idea to be flying. Today,
That's what I was thinking, but
In
I guess if you're
Shreveport.
protected on both sides, you know,
Well,
they got
they
like
had
the
grounded all planes.
All
So they
flights
were
are grounded.
so like
Except
they-
for him.
Exactly. So they put
Oh,
him in the air.
I mean, that's almost cooler than being the man on the moon.
Yeah.
You're the only person in the air right now.
Well,
So you think.
him,
So you hope.
yeah,
Right.
him and the 2 jets.
Yeah, and his fellas.
Yeah, the boys.
I just watch Hijack, so that's all I think about now.
And I also remember, like, I was at the age where, I mean, there was a lot of people around my age before and after that signed up to serve
Yeah.
at that time. Like, I mean, I've got a great friend who actually is a supporter of this show, Drew Fourier, of Fourier Insurance Agency. I remember him at that time, you know, committing and becoming a service member, and still to this day, that being, you know, one of his, when you meet him, I mean, that's one of the things that is easy to understand. I mean, and so many people like him, and that during that time, that, you know, really took that personal.
They tried
You
to
know?
warn us too.
I mean, and I think, I mean, I'm not getting into this, but I mean, like, it feels like we've lost that, a lot of that.
Yeah.
I mean, September 11th was one of the most unifying, I mean, and I don't mean to say this because of the tragedy, but it was one of the days where America felt as united as it ever has been. I mean, it felt like, you know, you had been picked on, and, you know, you were kind of like, no, I mean, nobody's going to take it anymore. I mean, like, everybody was kind of banded together, no matter whatever separated you: politics, race, religion,
Sports.
sex, whatever, sports, right? I mean, anything. It was all kind of a moment that
Unifying.
it felt like everybody was pulling in the same direction. It was
Greatest first pitch of all time?
greatest first pitch of all time. Has to be. I mean, not only did he put it literally in the strike zone, he's got a bulletproof vest on.
And the pressure.
The pressure of it.
In New York.
I mean, Derek Jeter's catching it. I mean, it's not like they got like some like bullpen catcher out there making the grab for you. I mean, you got the captain out there.
Who's probably also wearing something protective, if you think about it.
And just put it knees. I mean, like
Nails.
I mean, it was.
And coming in at like 80.
yeah, and he kind of dropped it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
it kinda
telling you, he
kind of dropped it in there.
George W. athlete.
Yeah, understood it.
Player coach.
Yeah. Now watch this drive.
That's right.
All-time guy for the moment.
So definitely want to remember 9/11
I'm not high right
here, and salute to all the service members,
Shit, G-Bag.
men and women who serve our country, especially from that point in that time. So
See, I didn't know he had a bulletproof
thanks
vest on.
everyone. Yeah,
I was too young.
how about that?
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of them put it on.
And not only that,
The
he
greatest
goes- he's
thumbs up
on-
ever.
I mean, he's on the bump.
Yeah,
Like
he goes.
he's not front of the mound. I mean, like, he's on the bump, bulletproof vest, kind of slings a little Nolan Ryan to him. No Nolan Ryan.
Well, you used to
kick
own the
him.
Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, him and Nolan are tight.
Well, and he asked DJ, Derek Jeter, they were warming up in the tunnel, and he was like, should I throw it from, like, the mound, or he's like, you have to throw it from the rubber. And
Had to.
he's like, okay, absolutely. If the captain says so, this is the way to do it. He's like, you got it. And so, I mean, you get a pump-up speech from two, and like, bro, this is America. You're not going to go from the
Walk
rubber.
out
You're the
to
president.
To the literal Bronx Zoo.
Yes.
I mean, that place was jumping.
They couldn't even give him the Bronx cheer. It was just nothing but cell phone flashes, or I guess camera flashes. Back in the day. Yeah. They didn't even take us out of school when that happened. I just went through my whole day.
Same.
Hell yeah! Look at this man. Boom.
Yeah.
Four-seamer.
Great form.
Oh yeah.
There.
Wide open chest. Good follow through.
I'll buy this team. George. George and George.
So remembering 9/11 here, it's crazy. 23 years ago. I'll actually be on a college campus this morning, going to speak to Dr. Ashley Bauer's marketing class this morning at 9:30, and so it will be interesting to be on a campus. It's the same place I was. I ended up going to class for whatever reason. I kind of just was like,
let's see what campus is
I don't
like
know
today.
what to do.
Yeah, that you cut exactly.
I kind of was like,
in a daze.
You hadn't gotten a notification from the teacher that class was canceled. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like, and for whatever reason, I didn't want to just sit there
and watch it all day.
Yeah, I was kind of like, man, I want to go see. And I remember going to the student union at LSU, and ultimately not making it to class.
Imagine if you had like a test or homework.
Just like it was a place of, to be on a college campus with just so many people and so many reactions and so much going on was a day that I will ultimately, all of us, just always will remember where we were, what was going on, and man, it's 23 years. That is amazing. 22 years. That is.
Time.
It is amazing how fast that has happened. 22 years. All right, so we've got some Brian Kelly post-game reaction from Grambling State. Stu, let's just go down the list here. And this is his opening statements following Saturday night's 72-10 win, as this was Brian Kelly immediately after the game. Hopefully we'll get an update on Mason Taylor as he speaks to the media coming up this morning.
Gave a quick answer on Mason Taylor.
But let's just go down the tell me when you're ready here.
Yeah, gotcha.
And we will hear from Brian Kelly. Some other thoughts from the weekend. Colorado does it again.
Dazzles.
Against Nebraska. I cannot believe they're not in the top 10 this morning. I mean, like, who cares? Throw them in the top 10.
I would.
I mean, who's been more exciting? Who's been more fun to cover? Who's been more fun to watch?
They're actually good.
Shedeur Sanders is like a top 10 pick.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think he's the second best quarterback in college football.
I agree with you, Stewie. I agree with you. I think that he has made and bullied his way up into the Heisman table here early on in this season. But, I mean, some of the throws he made.
That one to Travis Hunter.
Oh, the one from
on the sideline.
What about when he rolls left,
yeah,
sets
that's
his
what I'm
feet
talking
and
about.
just whips it to the back of the end zone?
Oh, that was a nice one, too.
I mean, like.
They deserve it.
He's
a
player.
A player, and he is, like, real accurate. Like, I mean, he puts the ball on some points,
And a bucket coach.
There has been no big early winner than Shedeur Sanders individually.
And Deion.
In college football. Well, I mean, I think Colorado, you can just put Deion in there. But individually, Shedeur Sanders has made as big of a jump as far as what he does next. I mean, I think, like, if you're his dad, like, you're really, like, recruiting him back next year at this point. I mean, like, I saw he's driving a brand new Maybach.
Did you see him flash
his watch?
His watch.
Yeah. This man was talking, talking all that noise to him. He's got his headphones on. And he just goes, "Rolly."
Yeah,
he's like, "Bro,
Rolly hits different, bro. Can't hear."
And he just walked away. He's
Can't
like,
hear
"Damn,
this ice is too."
Yeah, got too much money in my ear. But if you're Deion, that's the other weird dynamic that people don't really. I don't think it's talked about, but. Like the father-son relationship, if it was anybody else, it feels like it would be a bigger deal. But somehow it's downplayed because Deion's such a star.
He's so in front with it,
right? And so it's normalized,
right? Like he's not running from it,
and he's good. Right. It helps. If he was bad, it would be totally different. Where it's like, oh, he's just playing his kid.
So Colorado again, and obviously Texas and Sarkisian going into Tuscaloosa and beating Saban and Alabama like he did over the weekend. The two big ones.
Is it wild that they let Ralphie run on the field still? Where's Peter? Where's Peter?
When it happened, I'm telling you, my son was like, "Whoa!" They let him like he was
just
like,
go loose.
I mean, and he was giving that dude in front some trouble.
They always do.
Like that was.
It's this close to being like
mayhem.
The band is on the field.
that thing has gotten away before, right?
No, it was Oklahoma Boomer Sooner that tipped over, which was excellent.
They flipped it. Yeah,
that's
great.
Everybody was safe. That didn't feel as. But if Ralphie gets loose, like, what are you gonna do?
I mean, other you have to tranquilize
And
him, right?
Deion's scared of that.
Tranquilize
thing.
it.
So
I mean, Deion can't move with the 2 less toes these days,
Yeah.
bro. I mean,
he runs out with the team.
he
though.
does.
I can't believe he's like he's still moving around out
does.
there. But who was it? Barry from Tennessee that played for the Chiefs. That's terrified of horses.
Eric Berry.
Eric Berry.
I don't
He's
do
like,
horses, bro.
I don't play with them horses, dog. Like, get me out of here.
He's like, they're about to bring the horse out.
Holy
I'm
bull.
out.
Holy bull. So all I read on the forums is how Culotta says that Denver Harris is the best corner on the team. You still think that after Grambling?
Yes.
Mess with? Wholeheartedly. 100%. Have you seen another defensive back in better position than Denver Harris was on that touchdown
Dude had to
grab
catch it on his back.
that Grambling made?
And you talk about the defensive positioning, like early on, like before, like pre-snap. Denver Harris is the only one in anybody's face. Like he's the only person it seems like is playing press man.
I will also
That's the first time I noticed him. I was like, oh, that's 10.
I will also say this. I'm not going to take anything away from Miles Crawley, the Grambling quarterback who made that pass, and J.R. Walters, the wide receiver who made the catch. It was a pinpoint pass. It was an excellent catch against a defender who was in great position. If you are the defensive player on that particular play, you tip your hat, shake his hand, and say, nice job. After that, I was impressed with the way that Denver Harris competed and bounced back again, like Lloyd's talking about. And if you've watched LSU over the last 2 weeks, Holy Bull, if you don't believe Denver Harris is the best defensive back, who else you got? Seriously, tell me. If you don't believe him to be the best, who do you think is? After watching 2 weeks of action in which LSU, and no disrespect, they can't guard us. I mean, you're looking at a group that's playing 11, 12, 15 yards off the ball on obvious passing situations where you've got nobody that can challenge. I absolutely believe, after watching Denver Harris play 4 quarters of football on Saturday night, 3.5 quarters of football on Saturday night, that he is the best defensive back, cornerback on this team, and it's not even close. Because he gave up a touchdown?
And he's the first cornerback this season to get his hands on the football.
I mean, giving up a touchdown, I know that the LSU fans are going to believe because Denver Harris gave up a touchdown that he is terrible. Like that he can't play the position. He can't backpedal and get to a sprint because he gave up a touchdown. That's just the nature of the business. What's even more important at that spot is being able to flush it mentally and move on and compete the rest of the game and not let it eat you up. And that's what I saw from Denver Harris. You also have to remember, it's been over 10 months since he's played football.
Dean Stewart makes a good point. Love Denver. He was out there talking trash and getting in the receivers' heads.
Exactly.
That's what we need. That's what
all.
we want.
LSU needs that type of personality.
We need a dog in the backfield.
LSU needs somebody that feels like DBU. LSU's got to quit helping people up off the ground.
Yeah.
LSU's got to quit head nodding people that make a good catch in front of them.
You guys are good.
They need to tell somebody that it's going to be a long day, that you might get one on me, but you're not going to get 2. And that's what Denver Harris is. Denver Harris feels like DBU. He feels like some of the guys that have come through here over the last couple of years, which LSU has been missing on. So, yeah, Holy Bull, just because he gave up a touchdown, I still believe without question that he's the best defensive back. Run back on the forums and tell him so. And if they don't believe that he's the best defensive back on the team, ask them who is. Because nobody else is challenging anybody like Harris is through one game.
Major Burns' tackling issues are fixable.
The whole LSU defense has tackling issues.
The tackling issues are fixable. It's just
well,
about
you
wanting
say
to
that,
do it.
but they did the same thing last year. I still see Anthony Richardson run it against LSU's defense for 70.
Oh, God. That's not cool.
Like that, and you saw what
But I just feel like it's
you
more
saw
of-
Caleb Jackson. Like, what was the first thing that Brian Kelly said? Is like, we got a tackling issue, not a. I mean, he didn't want to take away from what he did in the spring game or that scrimmage, but It's hard to go 70 on a screen.
Yeah. I think it's fixable issues though. Like it's more of just coming in with your head down, not wrapping up. Like it's simple.
Oh, they're trying to make
stuff.
the big play,
right?
Like, especially against Grambling, you're trying to blow somebody up. I get it.
You just gotta gotta come in
the
with composure, make
first
the
things
tackle,
first.
get him on
Break
the
down.
ground.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody's breaking down.
Nobody
Like,
breaks down.
The technique is just bad.
Everybody's heads down. You're going. I mean, like first off, you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
And I think when you talked about the linebacker play earlier in the show, doesn't it feel like that's why they moved Harold Perkins to the middle? Is because they didn't have anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, now you see why.
Yes.
Now I understand why they put him in the
That's
middle.
what I was saying. That's what I was saying last week.
He's still not the guy.
But you see,
But that's
you
the
see
best.
what he
That's
did.
your best you got.
You see
Right.
what he does when you put him away from the ball a little bit.
Thibodeau, come on, Jordy. Have some self-respect. You're a good sports personality, but this is a total clown take on Denver.
Oh my god.
Chili, I think Ashton Stamps is better than Denver. I think both of them should start. I don't disagree with that.
They can both play.
Holy Bull,
Get him out of here.
Pro Football Focus put out a thing on quarterbacks like last week, and they didn't even put Caleb Williams on the board or Jordan Travis. So I'm out on Pro Football Focus completely.
Chris Collinsworth was busy, dude. He had football to
He doesn't
talk
have
about.
time
He had
for that.
NFL to do.
Here's the guy.
Here's a guy. I mean, when you talk about Patrick Mahomes,
Oh my God,
he needs a guy.
That guy lights up.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason he doesn't stand up during in the booth.
Him, Pat Mahomes and Dak Prescott. That guy lights up.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by our friends over at Hughes Mechanical. Hughes Mechanical can help you today on all of your AC needs. Getting into some of the winter months, it felt great this morning. If you were moving around early and you want to get out in front and maybe even have your heating system checked, get in touch with Hughes Mechanical Contractors. Residential or commercial needs, they can help you out. 225-658-2147. 225-658-2147 is the phone number. They are a trusted Daikin dealer over there at Hughes Mechanical. As we said, get in touch with Travis Hughes today as they can help you with one of the most trusted and experienced professional teams that you can find in South Louisiana. They're based in Zachary. They work all throughout Lafayette, Baton Rouge, the North Shore, New Orleans. Get in touch with Hughes Mechanical today. HughesMechanical.net. Tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, at 8 a.m., we're going to open up the phone lines for a segment, and we will take your reaction for a little bit. As we will take a little bit more reaction as we opened it up last night. We will have the phone number. Lloyd, what's the phone number?
318-794-9133. Get your takes in. Have a take, don't suck. Whether it be LSU, the SEC, anything you want to talk about, but I'd imagine it's going to be a lot of LSU versus Grambling, which you saw with Denver Harris, what you saw from maybe Caleb Jackson. You saw Pimpton out there a little bit. I think you saw some of the young guys play, and that's what people wanted. Shelton Sampson has two tough drops. Nussmeier was 4 for 6. He would have been 6 for 6. Or I guess 5 for 5 with a tutty.
Oh God, they would have called for the Nuss bus.
No, they were last night. It was unbelievable.
Man,
We are where we are.
Man threw 6 passes. Like,
well, then you had people saying that it was on purpose.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, Jordy is kind of he's got one foot on the Nuss bus.
it's not
unbelievable.
But it's
I don't think it's
What did you see yesterday? Like, what did you see
I didn't see
Saturday that would
anything
make
Saturday
you
that would be
change your,
like-
I told you what I saw last night. I mean, I told you last
But that's what
night.
you've always been seeing.
Right, and I'm saying that for this particular team, if the strength is still going to be
But is it?
in the wide receiver core, it's not in the offensive line like I thought it to be, at least through 2 games. I'm not ready to bail. And if you're going to make a change like putting Lance Hurd on the starting 5, which feels like is going to happen, then I want time to evaluate that. Again, I'm not pulling the plug on Jaden Daniels. I am saying when you put Nussmeier out there, there is a feeling that the defense is the offense is totally different in the way that it operates and the way that you call plays. And I'm just saying, I might like to see it a little more. That's it. I mean, I'm saying that if the numbers are going to change for the wide receivers, which they ultimately do when he's in the game, right? Like their numbers go up, the targets go up,
Turnovers go up.
the big play capabilities go up. Okay, the risk reward goes up in the offense. I've seen the data through 15 games with Jaden Daniels. My criticism of Daniels would be, I want more risk reward. I want big plays. I want the wide receivers to have stat lines where a couple of them have 2-3 touchdowns a night, a lot like they did against Grambling. Those stat lines looked fantastic against a FCS team. But can you carry that over in the big games? And I don't even know if Nussmeier can. So again, I'm not trying to create a quarterback controversy, and I'm not saying pull the plug on Jaden Daniels. I'm just saying that the offense it's got to be difficult to practice with these two guys. Because while you do see similar play calling when they're in the game, they really are polarizingly different prospects. So the play calling has to really be different. Think about the RPO that you see with Daniels compared to Nussmeier. Through 2 games, Daniels has 20 rushes. A lot of those off of RPO. They don't feel like they're called runs. Feels like it's just what Daniels sees, feels comfortable doing. They call the same plays for Nussmeier.
Nussmeier's is the slant.
He just comes off that RPO and he just whips it.
Yeah, Nussmeier's is the slant. Jaden Daniels is the
Keep.
The keep and the flat.
And
Pretty simple to catch on to as a defense, though.
for both, and I think that's part of the bigger issue, right? Is the reason that I'm okay with Jaden Daniels continuing to be the starters because of what you said, the way he protects the football. But we talked about this last night a little bit. If the defense is going to give up 40 a game, that's when you have to start. It's who gives you the best chance to score.
And that would be what my discussion is.
Because then you don't care if you turn it over.
You're in-house as LSU. Is that you look at both of these guys and Clint Phillips, Marcus Stewart. Jordy doesn't like winning, apparently. Dude threw 5 touchdowns and still not satisfied. No, Marcus, that's not true. What I am saying is that the strength of this team, of LSU's team, is again built on the outside, the playmakers. I believe the strength of LSU's offense to be Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Chris Hilton, Kyron Lacey, Aaron Anderson, Logan Diggs, Mason Taylor. These guys that when you put the ball in their hand, they are playmakers. They change the scoreboard. I envision that it would have been the offensive line going into this season. Through the first 2 games, I'm wrong. That's not right. Maybe with Lance Hurd being inserted to the lineup, and I expect him to be a part of the starting 5 moving forward, that it changes the way that you identify yourself. Maybe you become that physical run grading or a run solidifying, establishing team that you can build up and maybe make the big plays off of that. Through the first 2 games, that has not been evident. So if the strength of the offense is on the outside and the best chance for LSU to win is getting the ball in the hands of Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton, and others, is to start taking a little bit and few more shots down the field. The risk and reward needs to increase, especially when you look at the other side and you don't have the defense that you had last season. Can we all agree? We're all not going to agree on whether you could go with Nussmeier or Daniels, right? There's a camp that believes Daniels is the guy. There's a camp that believes Nussmeier should get a shot. That's just kind of the way of the world. We all agree that LSU defensively is poor through 2 games, correct? Like they got to vastly improve before they get to conference play, to the teeth of the schedule, for them to have a real big chance to being successful. But if they don't fix it, which is at this point probable, like I would say, like the capability of fixing it is a long shot, because I don't know what you're going to do at your linebacker personnel. I don't, unless you start counting on true freshmen, or you start moving some guys around, or you maybe put some guys in different positions. I don't know, because there's not a middle of the season fix for when you thought you had a good, solid player at the spot and it just doesn't work out and there's no depth. when that's the case, you're kind of SOL. Really. Right? And I say the same thing about the defensive backfield. Where, yes, after last night, after Saturday night, I believe Denver Harris is the best DB on this team. But why? Because I just saw him compete. I just saw him, be able to give up a play, flush it, move on to that. Did he play a great game? Hell no. It was also his first game in 10 months. And if that's what you get out of the first game in 10 months, then he's got to play every game. I would also say the same thing about LaTerrence Welsh. I've seen him go down on kickoff team now in 2 straight weeks, specifically on Saturday night, going down looking to headhunt. And Welsh came flying down on the kickoff team on Saturday and fought through a block, threw the guy on the ground, found the ball, and put the ball on the ground. Like, that guy needs a shot, right? I mean, just put him out there. He might be in the mix. I want to see guys compete. I want to see the personnel. I want to see people talk a little trash. I want to see people challenged. I want to see people give up a catch, come back on the next one, and compete. For the first time, I saw that out of the spot. So there's a little sign of hope, but you don't have a lot of those guys. And I don't know how you fix that. So if you look up in game 4, 5, 6, 7, and you're giving up an average of 28, 35, 38 points a game, well, offensively, you can't sit there and dunk underneath, throw behind the chains on 3rd and 7, throw a route that goes 4 yards. You're just not going to be able to do it. If you want to keep the ball away from them and kill the clock and play with the lead, then maybe that's a good formula. But you got to have a good defense who can stop them on the other side. And right now, up until this point, LSU ain't got that. And it doesn't look like they have a sign of fixing that to make it real competitive on that side of the ball where you can win games over there. And that's my point in saying, I love Jaden Daniels. You can win with Jaden Daniels. It's been proven you can win with Jaden Daniels. Hell, you can win the division of the league with Jaden Daniels. You have to have some things around Daniels that make a lot of sense. For the style that he plays, you got to have a really good defense, a defense that doesn't give up a lot of points a game, a defense that's going to be swarming attacks and can get after the pass rusher, create some turnovers. Through 2 games, LSU's got 1 sack and 2 turnovers. Oof. That's the numbers. Yeah, Jaden Daniels went for 5 touchdowns against Grambling. And look, some things are not his drops, but when Garrett Nussmeier is in the game, there is a feeling that LSU is more of a threat to make big plays. And at this point, I don't know if that's not the best formula for LSU to win. That they may have to get into a track meet every week, and they may have to start averaging 35 a game. Just because they have to. Finals might be 35-33, 35-31, 38-36. I mean, like, they're going to be in some high scoring games. And do I believe that Daniels? Yeah, I mean, I don't. If Daniels was the only option for LSU, I would feel like, yeah, man, he can do it. But if you've got an option that proves that, hey, he's going to get back there and he's going to take some shots, and he's going to give Brian Thomas a chance to maybe go for $150 and 3 scores one night. Or maybe you see Aaron Anderson's numbers start to inflate with him in the game. If not, I'm wrong. But it feels like that. It feels like that's the case when he's in there. And I don't know if that's not the best formula for LSU to win.
Did you say Jaden Daniels is the top 5 LSU quarterback of all time?
No. Would you? I would say he's the best running quarterback of all time.
I'm just saying statistically so far.
Yeah, I mean.
Offensive output. From what he's done to this point, you would put obviously Burrow, Russell.
Hodson.
Rowe.
I mean, I think
Rowe. But I'm saying if you're going all the way back to Tommy.
I'm even looking at a guy like Herb Tyler.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
But that's what I'm saying. Look how far you have to go back to see somebody where, and that's what's funny about this whole thing is that you have somebody, obviously that is the second string of Garrett Nussmeier, but you have a quarterback in front of you that's playing as well as anybody has ever played the position aside from Burrow. at the school that he's at.
Wait, repeat that?
I said he's playing the position as well as anybody has ever played it at LSU aside from Joe Burrow. He's like, if you just look at, surely just looking at the numbers. The way that I
He's
think
not accustomed.
stylistically, I don't think people like what they're looking at.
He is not. He's
That's what I
not
think it
blessed
is.
with what other LSU quarterbacks have been lucky enough to have around them. When you're usually
Defense.
looking at quarterbacks at LSU, they are usually stationed. They are usually backed by a top 10 defensive unit.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's not a top 10 unit, there's some type of playmaker over there that can change the game. Right? In this particular season, Jaden Daniels does not have that luxury. Last season, he played with that luxury of a defense that you could count on, that you could game plan, that they could win for you. They could win some games. There are
Arkansas.
games that LSU's defense pulled out and won. I could even argue that the Alabama game, with the way that they defended Alabama and the way that they really kind of stifled that. I mean, that early turnover, that Bernard Converse pick
in the end
I mean,
zone.
that was huge.
Yeah, and I would say just scoreboard-wise, Arkansas and Auburn are the two games that I look at. You get the Harold Perkins interception, but that's what he's lacking is there's no turnovers.
Through two games.
And no pressure on the quarterback
And
at all.
they may change that. There may be some things that you can tinker and move around that you can start to get that type of production. Through two games, the evaluation in my part is that you don't have that. You just there's not a way for you to really look at LSU's defense the way that you did last season and say, hey, look, pressure's on. You got to get it. You're the ones that have to dictate the tempo and pace of this game tonight, whether it's through takeaway or whether it's through pressure or whether it's through whatever it is. They don't have that. And so if you've got to get into track meets and you got to outscore people, well, do I believe Daniels can do that? I do. I think if you asked him to do that, he could play that style. He would be uncomfortable because he put such a premium on protecting the ball, which is a very high mark of a quarterback. Right? Like when he goes to his NFL evaluation and they look at the numbers and look at the way that his touchdown to interception ratio has kind of played alongside of each other, that's a real positive mark for him. But with the style that LSU has to play in 2023, it may not give them the best chance to win. Just think about it. I mean, you put 13 back there, and it feels like the whole field's in play. It feels like all the options are in play. It feels like big plays are more prominent. So we'll take a break, come back with you. We'll open up the phone lines. What's the number, Lloyd?
318-794-9133.
And we will take your calls here on the Jordy Culotta Show. As always, we are brought to you by our friends over at Go Roof. Get in touch with Go Roof online at GEAUXroof.com. Get in touch with Go Roof online at GEAUXroof.com. You get a beautiful roof every single time when you deal with our pros and our friends over at Go Roof. The phone number is 225-927-8300. You can request a free quote by dialing that number. You can also get it online. If you have any damage from any storms or hail or wind damage that's been through over the last couple of days or weeks, our friends over at Go Roof is ready for your call and ready for you to log online and get with you today. You get a 2-year free workmanship guarantee with all new roof installations. And it doesn't matter if it's a commercial, residential, they can help you with roof repair, roof installation, and even roof maintenance. Get in touch with Go Roof today online, GEAUXroof.com, or call them 225-927-8300. A beautiful roof every single time. More of the Jordy Culotta Show after this. We come back. As always, built by R&B Builders. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, roof up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
Phil's Oyster Bar, a staple of South Louisiana since 1945, located in Southdown Shopping Center and online at philsoysterbar.com. If you log online, you can learn about the private party schedule, the catering menu, and even order online. Daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Learn about the history when Gus Piazza took it over in the early 70s, made it an absolute stop-in for everyone who came through Baton Rouge, and now Anthony, his son, carrying on the tradition. Phil's Oyster Bar, Southdown Shopping Center, and online, philsoysterbar.com.
Malik Neighbors, a wide receiver.
Favorite pregame meal?
Popeyes.
What would winning a national championship mean to you?
It would mean a lot to me because, we seen a lot of the greats come through here, won their national championship, got, remembered for life.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Probably fly. That or telekinesis.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Do it wrong, do it long. Do it right, do it light. Kyle Lacey, wide receiver, number 2.
Do you have any nicknames?
K2.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Stay humble.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Fly. I be flying in my dreams.
What's been the highlight of your partnership with us?
The bike giveaway was one of the best things. I was pretty excited about that one. Texas A&M, I just got a point to prove because last year I dropped 2 balls I should have caught. I'm coming for them for real.
That's it.
Thank you, man. My name is Harold Perkins, and I play linebacker.
What's your favorite pre-game meal or snack?
Pasta with a little steak, something that's not too heavy.
Any superstitions or pregame rituals?
I pray a lot. Just be me and God before the game. Perky worky. I like when they call me the percolator. I like that.
If anyone gets in a wreck, who should they call?
Gore.
Where were you born at, Greg?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But I claim 504 food because I was raised there my whole life. Favorite type of food is spaghetti. But you need to try spaghetti with some corn on the side. Funniest person, I'd probably get Kyron Lacey. He be having joked out every time I talk to him.
Who's the most athletic?
You know, besides myself, Perk or Malik. Future self, just take one day at a time, one step at a time. If you're doing something, just be where your feet are. Make sure you give 100% effort.
What is something on your bucket list?
Win a Super Bowl. That's definitely on my bucket list.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Time traveling.
Who's the fastest on the team?
Like in a short span, I would say quick trigger, I'm taking Perk. One thing most people don't know about me, probably that I moved 12 times growing up, 12 different states.
Who's the most savage on the team?
Mason Smith. Mason Smith, definitely.
And who gets it done?
Gordon.
Thank you, man. That's great.
Emory Jones, right tackle.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Got it from my mom, and she just told me, always keep your head on the swivel.
Favorite subject?
Math, easy. I kind of keep it light. Give me some type of red beans or something like that. Throw a little cornbread on the side.
Light with red beans.
Yeah, just a little bit. I am superstitious. I got some PSDs that's purple and yellow and white. I wear them every game. I feel like they my lucky draws, and you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep doing it.
All right, taking your phone calls live here on this Monday from our Click Here Digital campus. Remember, over at Click Here Digital, we're helping you with your full-service digital marketing plans. If you're curious about how you can get the phone to ring a little bit more, how you can get more clicks on your website, if you need more foot traffic of people coming through your business, over at Click Here Digital, we can help with all of that. If you want a direct contact, email me, Jordy at clickheredigital.com, or jump online at clickheredigital.com. Speaking of a direct contact, phone number that we've been putting out, that's the wrong one, Stuart. This is a 318 area code. One more time, Lloyd.
794-9133. 318.
Have people figured this out?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's fine.
Can we blow the cover or no? You want to keep it up? Let's just keep it up.
Sure, yeah, let's keep the cover on.
318-794.
Don't Scooby-Doo me yet.
9133.
Oh, wait, I just did it. Damn kids.
This is a phone number that
AT&T has.
You should store into your contacts list.
If you want a babysitter.
Call it very late at night. Call it after every LSU football game and complain about it.
You'll get some LSU. If that happens, I swear to God, I will answer.
This is the complaint line of the Culotta Show.
I'm here. I'm a soundboard.
It is open 24 hours a day. Put this into your contact list.
All billable hours.
24-hour contact. 24-hour Culotta Show hotline.
Don't jump. You know what? Do
have a take. Don't suck. What's your name? Where you calling
what's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, bro.
Stewie?
I got the caller on here. Hello?
Stuart, don't make me come over there.
Hello. It was bumping.
Lloyd, go play producer.
Cosplay.
Hello.
Oh,
there he is.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, there I am. Calvin Van Rouge.
What's up,
going on?
What's on your mind?
All right. So I'm Seville Jr.
Nice.
Just the last couple weeks, I've been kind of making a case for JD, but I think everybody is making it a two quarterback, one versus the other. I don't see it that way. I just think both quarterbacks have something to give. The offenses has to be catered to either one, but I don't see Nuss really coming through and making that big of a difference to take us either to Atlanta or to the national championship more than JD, because the offense can be catered either way to make sure that it's productive for either one of those guys. I look more ahead to next year when Nuss has the reins, the defense is a little bit better, and he gets the full, attention all summer, all spring, to have all the energy put into what he could do, because I think out of the two, he has the most talent, and I think the guy could do the closest to duplicating what was done a few years ago with Burrow.
C. Veal, it's great to hear from you, man.
You should do radio, dude. You've got the pipes.
You got good pipes, bro.
Hey, man, I'm hooking up through a nice microphone.
It sounds like it.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
the sound is fantastic.
Give him a video call.
C. Veal, you brought up something, and can we agree on this? And can I put this out to the listener? This team's not playing for a national championship.
No, they're a year away.
I mean, this team is not a national championship contender. I thought they were 2 weeks ago.
Right.
I was
duped,
just crazily
Hoodwinked.
surprised by what they rolled out there last week, and again here in week 2 after 2 weeks of watching. This is a middle of the pack SEC team, but the SEC is down this season, so they could make a run.
Right. I think this team, the highest mark that they can reach for is at least trying to win the SEC West, because Georgia's going to take the SEC championship again.
No, Bama's beatable.
But yeah, Bama's beatable, and I think everything else is just trying to come out of this schedule with everyone still healthy, and preparing for next year, trying to make sure no one else goes into the portal. But I think for me, out of everything that I saw this weekend, it was nice to see, and I've said this in the chat, but to see Whit Weeks on the field was just, I'm hoping that at some point they work him in a little bit more, because I think to stop the run, which they're going to have to do to get through this schedule, that kid has to be on the field, because he and Logan Diggs actually looked like they were proud to wear LSU uniforms this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, man. Thanks for calling, C. Veal. Good to hear from you.
Oh, no doubt.
Plug your podcast if you got one.
I like Whit Weeks. I like
do
what
too.
I saw. I like what I saw from Whit Weeks and Greg Penn.
I do too.
Greg Penn with the interception between the legs.
Yeah,
that was bizarre.
It was. Looked like it hit the ground. Didn't hit the
Didn't
ground.
hit the ground. LSU reacted like he caught it though, but is that your only turnover of the year?
Deuce Chestnut had
had a pick against Florida State. Yeah, you got 2
last week.
But it's not only that, it's the lack of pressure on the quarterback is super concerning.
Yeah, that really concerns me. Like no push, like can't even get like up the middle push. Like push up the middle, not even a push on the edge.
It's 7-on-7.
Yeah.
And
318-794-9133 is the phone number. Give us a call.
And they got gashed on like draws both games, 2 games in a row.
Brian Kelly explained that they were in the dime package whenever those.
Well,
two
no
runs
shit. It's
happened.
3rd and 15.
It is, and they weren't expected to run. Put 3 down linemen in the game, you get ran on. That could be fixed, but it is glaring issues if you're giving up 3rd and 20s to Grambling State.
Can we hear from Brian Kelly?
Yes,
Are you ready on that? All right, let's go to Brian Kelly 7 here.
Hunter Hall's calling.
All right, let's go to the phone line. Back to the phone lines we go. 318-794-9133. Have a take, don't suck. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hunter Hall in Huntsville.
Don't do it, Hunter.
Wow, Hunter.
This is a safe space. You're okay.
Well, it ain't like it used to be. That's for sure.
That is for sure.
That's true.
Robbie Morrison, what a great quote from the band. It ain't like it used to be,
That's
boys.
exactly right. That's exactly right. Biggest disappointment to me for Alabama, it's had to be that secondary, just explosive play after explosive play. You had a fourth quarter lead, and you blew it. You gave up 21 in the fourth quarter.
Doesn't sound familiar at all.
Yeah. I was sitting there saying, man, I think I saw the same thing play out last Sunday night.
I've seen this movie before. I don't like it.
Hunter Hall took 2 straight gut punches.
I don't feel like they quit, though. And I was happy about that. But, the second biggest disappointment, to ride your boy Cole Kubelik here, Jordy, his biggest pet peeve is in the offseason or fall camp. Look how big he is. That's all he's been talking about is this Alabama offensive line. They're so big they can't pass block.
Yeah, Proctor. That was a long night for that true freshman at left tackle.
Oh, and then you got Seth McLaughlin, and he can't snap the ball. And then when he does snap the ball, it's illegal.
That ball was
illegal.
I did notice the ball was like rolling to Milrow every play.
Yeah.
Some of the
and that was our biggest plays. That was the biggest plays we had all night when the ball rolled back.
Backyard football,
the
baby.
busted plays.
I mean,
You need to get Nebraska center.
The defensive line, like you guys, I mean, my goodness.
Pushed around.
Quinn Ewers sitting there looking like a white tablecloth. He could have gone to church wearing that uniform on Sunday.
It was concerning.
You know-
The line of scrimmage play was the difference.
Oh,
And
yeah.
how Texas has changed that narrative so quick, I think, is a great NIL example. I mean, really. I
think it goes back to what we were talking about this spring, too. We were fighting over Bo Davis, and both of us wanted him, and none of us got him.
That's right. That's right.
It's first time Saban lost by double digits since 2003 at home when he was at LSU to Florida, 19-3 or something like that.
Yeah.
First double digit loss for Alabama at home since 2004.
Wow. Mike Shula.
ULM?
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, South Carolina got us that day. But I try to tell you guys all summer that Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the SEC. He's like being the smartest kid in summer school, and not a high bar.
Mm-hmm.
But, guess it's a week worth of watching Saban body language at press conferences this week. And it's not going to be the last.
Who's the favorite in the West?
Thought he was going
right
to cry.
now?
I am, man.
Poll the room.
I'm down bad.
Who's the?
But I saw it coming. and
Who's
that
the
helped.
favorite in the West? Who do you believe today?
I mean,
through 2 weeks.
The thing about it is LSU is not scared of anybody on their schedule. Alabama's not scared of anybody on their schedule. We're just worried about our offensive lines and quarterback play.
And DBs.
And defensive
And
line.
DBs. We're carving copies of each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Hunter, great to hear from you.
Texas
Ole Miss, Ole Miss has to be the favorite.
I was going to say Ole Miss. Hide the sharp objects this week. To the phone lines we go. Have a take, don't suck. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, guys? Dex in New Orleans.
What's up, Dex? What's on your mind?
Man, it's just it's kind of frustrating just watching this team, play. I still believe in Brian Kelly. I think we all should, right? But I think he's fallen in love with the transfer portal just a little too much. I know that he was left with a very insufficient, locker room whenever he inherited the team from Ed Orgeron. But I just think in order to really have success in the future, we need to start developing players like LaTerrence Welch, like you commented on. I would like to see Caleb Jackson a little bit more. I'm excited that they got Chris Hilton involved into the game. I think bare minimum, they need to throw 2 or 3 deep balls a game to him.
I agree.
I just don't understand how you don't do that. Also, I don't think I've ever seen an O-line at LSU just kind of not get pushed at all, like in the run game. Just getting out physicaled in both games. Grambling, you can take that with a grain of salt because it's Grambling. They're obviously way bigger. But Florida State was very concerning. That was probably one of the best D-lines they'll face all year. But still, I think that's concerning. But the whole Jaden Daniels and Nussmeier talk, the guy who called first kind of put it perfectly. It's one of those things that you kind of have to live and die with Jaden right now. Because they worked that whole offseason into keeping that same formula they had last year for Jaden. Me, like everyone else, when Nussmeier came into the game, his balls are just so pretty, man. Like, they just come out of his hands so smooth, and it looks like he's just meant to throw a pigskin. But the DBs are very concerning. I
would
think
put
that's
the linebackers in that mix, too.
Yes, exactly. I just don't think we have many dogs. Like we don't have those guys, like Jamal Adams or and Eric
Beckwith.
Reed that can, Kendall Beckwith that can come down and make a play, even like a Patrick Queen, So I think those things are kind of concerning right now. I think the talent gap at LSU compared to other schools is kind of getting a little bit larger. And I think the SEC is just not like the past 2 weeks has kind of showed that NIL is starting to affect college football.
Without question. Miami, Texas, USC, you start to see it. Thanks for listening, man. Thanks for calling.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
To the phone lines we go. Back to them. Have a take. Don't suck. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Cameron Rogers calling from Mobile, Alabama.
What's up there? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was just watching the game last night, and I saw a Grambling State running back hit a LSU defensive lineman in the face, and he got 15-year-old unsportsmanlike, but it's like that doesn't seem like LSU football for a Grambling State running back to hit a LSU defender, defensive lineman in the face, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
It's almost like Brian Kelly gave out JD bracelet before the game, and
turn the other cheek.
You know, I know he wants them to play with a discipline, but it doesn't. They don't have that same scary mentality. They should have pumped Grambling State, and I just didn't see that. And my other take is the Weeks kid in the 40. To me, he's a better linebacker than Omar Speights. I know he's a little small, but I remember they said that about Deion Jones, and he turned out to be a tackling machine.
A dog.
So he was a dog, and it seemed like the dogs are not getting in.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Play the best players. That's what we've been talking about. Thank you for calling. Thanks for listening over in Mobile. We'll stick with the phone lines as they're blowing up here on this Monday morning. Welcome to the Jordy Culotta Show, built by RMB Builders. Have a take, don't suck. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, man, this is Lyle Bellamy. I'm calling out of Katy, Texas.
What up, Lyle from Katy? What's on your mind?
Yeah, man, so my thing is it's hard for me to see Nussmeier getting in right now because the offensive line just isn't developed. We don't have a running game. And with the aspect that Jaden brings to the game, that to me that keeps the defense on their toes. And I still think he can push the ball down the field, in all honesty.
I'm with you. I don't think that he can't. It's time. It's now time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm not saying that you're saying that he can't. It's just if you see Nuss in the game, I haven't seen Nuss really run.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a hard thing for me to see.
I agree. And the offensive line, look, both of these quarterbacks have to have they have to have production from the offensive line, and I think they need that group to catch up. And I think it'll be once you have the evaluation after the next 4 quarters, because I think Zalance Hurd is going to play. I really do. I think that they're going to start him at right tackle. They're going to move Emory Jones down. I think Turner's got to improve. You know, through the first 2 weeks, he's gotten shoved around a little bit. But then you look at that left side, and that left side with Dellinger and of course Campbell have been pretty solid. So, you know, I think this is your best 5 and what they're going to roll out on Saturday. So I think that we can't really evaluate until, you know, the next 4 quarters.
And I just want to say one more thing. Denver Harris, look, people need to – he hasn't played ball in 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, he's the most legit corner that we have. And I agree with you. We need to give LT a chance, in all honesty.
I agree. Thanks for listening, man.
Yep, no doubt.
I do. 318-794-9133. 318-794-9133. We'll keep the phone lines open here for a couple of more minutes before we move on here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We always appreciate you interacting with us, sticking around with us. Remember, we're trying to get to 100 likes per show live.
Pizza
so if
party.
if you have not hit that like button, if you have not hit the share button or even commented, make sure and interact with us. We appreciate you being there. Good calls, man. Good to hear from everybody being out there on this Monday morning. As always, we appreciate you starting your day here with us. And look, on the Nussmeier-Daniels situation, like I've said time and time again, I'm not saying to pull the plug on Jaden Daniels. I just think that some of the styles, some of the calls have to change a little bit than, you know, playing too much behind the chains, playing, you know, not as aggressive, trying to really dictate the tempo. I think the risk-reward needs to step up, to put it best. And I agree with what he said on Denver Harris as well. Anybody who watched that game that takes away that Denver Harris is not the corner on this team, what are you watching? He competes. He gets after it. He talks. He plays. He's in the right spot. Does he give up catches? Yes. I mean, he's
a corner.
That's part of the gig. But I think that he can't come off the field. What was that, Stewie?
Had a call. Got a call.
We got one?
Yeah.
All right, to the phone lines we go here. Close it out. This will close out our phone segment. Have a take, don't suck. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is John calling from Nashville. Spoke to y'all last week.
Nice.
So my big question is how you think we're going to attack that 3-3-5 defense from Mississippi State, especially with Jaden. I think that poses a little bit more of a threat because they have the speed to be able to hunt them down a little bit more than others. And then the second question real quick is just Mason Smith's play. I mean, I know he has to shake off some rust, but when would you expect him to kind of be a full go? Didn't seem like he was a full go this go around, but that's all I got.
Thank you.
Great show, by the way.
Thanks for listening up there in Nashville. We appreciate it very much, man.
You go to the Kid Rock bar?
All the time, dude.
3 stories.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. See you. I would say that the biggest way to attack this 3-3-5 this week is going to be Logan Diggs edition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, feed this guy. I mean, Logan Diggs. I had no idea. I didn't know he could run like that.
Hit the triangle button a little too soon, but
He
That's
did.
fine.
That
That's
was awesome.
It was cool.
Jane Daniels hit the triangle button on week 1
against Florida State.
But I would think that Logan Diggs' addition to the run game is a huge mark this week, and I would feed him. Like, really. I mean, I would. They continue to say that Jaden Daniels cannot be the leading rusher in the game, and this week I believe he only had 5.
5 carries.
Did Logan Diggs have 11?
16.
16. Like, continue that. I would continue that pace, and I don't know if you throw Caleb Jackson in there this week against Mississippi State, but I love a 3-headed monster of Trey Bradford, Logan Diggs, and
Josh Williams has
Caleb
played well
Bush.
too.
No doubt. I think that Diggs and Williams kind of wash.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you look at the two side by side, I need different skill sets if I'm playing running back rotation. Unless I'm 2011 LSU, where I just got 5 dogs, right? Where I got Spencer Ware, Michael Ford, Kenny Hilliard, Alfred Blue, and it's just like, it doesn't matter. Whatever one you want to play tonight, they're going to go. When you've got a room like this, give me 3 specific skill sets, right? Like, Diggs looks like the horse. I would feed him 15 to 20 times a game. I would make sure that Bradford gets 3 to 5 touches a game. And then I got Caleb Jackson, who's kind of like this trinket, this specialty, this luxury, really, as a freshman, where I'd let him carry it 2 to 3 times a game.
Same thing with Aaron Anderson.
Like, just toss it to him.
I'd probably go 10 with Caleb Jackson.
He almost took
right now.
Yeah.
Maybe in November it's 10.
He almost took the kickback.
Maybe late October he did.
That's what I'm saying. Every time he touches it, it's like
it's explosive.
Hold the phone.
Pew.
Get ready.
John Emery comes back this week.
Oh God! See, that's the other issue. Is I said this, and I kind of said it in jest, but now it's coming to fruition. If you have 8 running backs, do you have 1? It feels like they're trying to, especially with, you could say non-running backs with Jaden Daniels. With that many touches, it feels like you can't set anything, like you have almost no run game because you're trying to get so many people touches that you can never get into a routine. If you just picked 1, it feels like the running game could almost solidify itself, but you have so many good players that it's hard to kind of get into, like I said, get into a routine where it becomes comfortable.
I would feed Diggs. After what I've seen, I would feed Diggs. I would give him the ball 15, 20 times a game, really. I didn't know he moved like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had another gear like that. And I'm not judging his speed on the competition. I'm just judging in the way he burst. I didn't know that he could make it
look like that.
Right. He made it look
He was running
easy.
angry.
Yeah, which they need.
It looked like that was same thing with Caleb Jackson. I think they both have that. I'm not going down. And that's what it feels like a lot of people are looking for on the LSU end, whether it be defensively or offensively, where it's have a little bit of fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people are calling for Weeks, because you see it. He cares. He wants to be out there. And it feels like a lot of the LSU from week 1 to week 2, they're almost going through the motions a little bit. And you need a kick in the ass. And if that didn't wake you up from week 1, you might find out who you are in week 3 when a Mississippi State team that you should steamroll. And if you don't, you continue to play this game of figure it out.
So I think that the run game will extremely be beneficial to helping LSU against that 3-3-5 front that they will see this weekend versus, is it Zach Arnett, head coach, defensive coordinator, from Mississippi State. And then the second question was Mason Smith. Mason Smith's going to take a minute. You know, the same thing we say about Denver Harris, we say about Mason Smith. It's been a long time since he's played football. You know, you sit out of contact for a year. You don't get out there. You know, you don't run. You don't hit. Just all of that stuff. It takes a minute. You know, we talked about that with Denver Harris. I say the same thing for Mason Smith. Mason Smith is a little bit different from Harris's because Harris is just kind of a mental thing. It's just kind of getting back out there and a lot of reps, right, and just kind of slowing it back down, right? I mean, I'm sure that it's very, very fast when you get out there and you hadn't played it for 10 months. And now Mason Smith is dealing with that, but he's also trying to work back in from an injury, 2 of them, to be frank. I mean, the knee injury, obviously what he's been rehabbing, and then that ankle injury that got him in camp was, I guess, a little bit more severe than what we thought.
Mm-hmm. It looks it, too. And I think there has to be probably, I feel like a lot of athletes go through this, like the mentality of playing with an injury where it's, do I trust it?
Yes, absolutely.
Especially after an ACL when he went down the way that he did. And he knows, like, good, bad, or indifferent, he knows that this is his money year. And if he just stays healthy, he gets drafted. So you play with a little bit of that mentality of, I just can't get hurt again. And then you have the ankle, and that sets you back, not only physically, but, like we said, mentally at a standpoint where you're kind of thinking about it too much, where it's always on your mind because I'm just trying to get to the league. And I don't think he's playing with that mentality on purpose, but I think that's something that can happen. Also, is there a world where LSU is just a second-half team and you look up in 3 weeks and go, oh, shit, LSU is tied for the lead in the West?
Absolutely.
Because I think that. I think they're trying to figure it out because they have so many pieces. They're still trying to put the puzzle together, and that happens.
Look, this is in the moment.
Absolutely.
Like this is in the vacuum. You know, this is really a reactionary show and talking to that point. Can LSU figure this out? Absolutely they can. 100%. I think that they have, you know, the capability. I also would say when I look around the SEC, when I look around the league, that there's nobody that's real intimidating. I would say through the first 2 weeks of the season, the team that most intimidates me the most, that intimidates me the most is Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, like they're just ability to kind of turn it on, score. They can run. I mean, I've been very impressed with Jackson Dart, the way that he's not only like held off Spencer Sanders and Walker Howard, but like the way that he's efficiently run that position. It's different against the LSU, Bamas, and the others of the SEC, but they've looked pretty good through the first 2 weeks. They have not looked like LSU and Bama where they've gotten shoved around by teams. So the league is not as intimidating as it once was. And I think it's definite the NIL aspect of college football has shown the catch-up of teams that are geographically located in destinations that are very attractive, like South Beach, Miami, and Hollywood, Los Angeles, and Austin, Texas, that it doesn't take much to get players attracted to those areas, especially when you can cut them a check to do it. I mean, Miami's offensive line overnight has gotten SEC physical. They were taking a defensive line for Texas A&M that I thought Texas A&M's defensive line was one of the top in the league, if not the best defensive line in the league, maybe behind Georgia. But some of the names they roll out, it looks like an Under Armour All-American recruiting game. Shamar Stewart and Walter Nolan. And I mean, like these guys that are on the same line getting shoved around by a Miami group that I thought was soft. Not the case at all. They got a 5-star left tackle and a couple of transfers down in South Beach that I'm sure NIL came to play and has made Miami overnight physical again. Keon Coleman's the best wide receiver in the sport. I mean, he's doing Jamar Chase type stuff. In fact, he's celebrating like Jamar Chase. He does the Jamar Chase celebrations. He's jumping over people. He made LSU's defensive backfield look like rice last weekend.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Coach, give me Keon Coleman.
No way.
Coach.
What are y'all watching? Are y'all just saying that Marvin Harrison? What do you have on Marvin Harrison? What are y'all watching? Marvin Harrison's got 1 touchdown catch on the season.
He has 2. He caught 2 Saturday.
Okay, I mean,
and look
at last year.
Have you seen Keon Coleman?
I've seen them both on the same
By no means
field.
am I writing off
Put
Marvin Harrison
Jr. on Florida
but
State.
it's not Marvin Harrison and everybody else. Keon Coleman is.
I think it's Marvin
Harrison Jr. and everybody
Keon
else.
Coleman, and then you rattle off the names after that.
Keon Coleman is doing things that
2 freaks.
Marvin Harrison can do. We talk about Marvin Harrison like he's untouchable. Keon Coleman is running around college football a lot like Marvin Harrison. Do I still think that Harrison at this point is going to be the first wide receiver taken off the board in the draft? I do. Do I think through the first 2 weeks that Keon Coleman has come out of nowhere and shocked college football watchers of how good he is? Absolutely. I mean, one thing that Florida State did the other night that good teams do, they beat the teams that they're supposed to, and they skull drug Southern Miss. Keon Coleman's jumping over people. I mean, scoring touchdowns and making them look easy.
I'd also put Zachariah Branch in that conversation.
She's still a freshman.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Keep the puppies where they're at.
Yeah. Ran a punt back.
Dude, I mean, like, by no means am I saying that Marvin Harrison's no good.
I get that. I
still believe that Marvin Harrison is going to be the number 1 wide receiver drafted. But Keon Coleman, through the first 2 weeks of college football,
surprise of the.
I mean, the dude is like he's making plays every time he touches the ball. Yeah, I mean, it's.
I gotta respect it. I'm just saying, Marv.
I hear you.
Yeah, he's just missing it. The Ohio State offense seems like it's a click slow. The quarterback's not really the same guy that they had last year. Obviously, Caleb Stroud goes top 5, 3rd overall. It seems like
something like that.
They're it just seems like they were kind of missing what Ryan Day usually has at quarterback, which it felt like a lot of system over player at some point.
Yeah.
But now they don't have the at least in week 2, doesn't feel like Marvin Harrison's getting the same love that he was getting last year. But make no mistake about it, he is the best wide receiver in college football.
What's Marvin Harrison's vitals?
Dog.
No, I know.
6'3", 2.
I mean, they're about the same size.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He put on like 15 pounds of muscle.
Keon's
in the offseason.
6'4".
Yeah, I mean, he's a basketball player. You can see it. But he plays like a football player, which is the best combination you can have. Keon's a freak.
He's a freak, man.
But Marvin Harrison Jr. is, I mean, he didn't even have.
How
he could have.
LSU missed that guy?
I don't know how that happened.
I mean, how do you miss that guy?
To the point where he doesn't like LSU.
The first time was Edo and the boys.
Can't play with him. Get him to row back.
What were they looking at?
I don't know.
And I mean, like, I'm not here to criticize because they brought in a lot of talent. You know
right.
what I mean? But, I mean.
That's a tough miss.
How do you
talk about Jamar Chase.
I mean, how do you let
Imagine
that
if you would have
go?
seen Jamar Chase at Florida where he committed, or Kansas he committed to first. But if you would have seen him be like, he was essentially in your backyard. Kind of feels that way with Keon Coleman where you're going, but LSU is, you would think what you say that wide receiver was your strength. It doesn't feel like they've popped yet.
But to me, like, I'm watching Coleman, and if I'm an evaluator of talent, like if I'm like, it's my job to evaluate, maybe he doesn't look like that 3 years ago, but you can definitely see that in it, right? I mean, like if we're watching him play basketball, and I got to imagine he's making plays on the football field that look very similar to this. It's not like, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's a late bloomer.
But he had every SEC offer besides LSU or Alabama.
LSU and Bama were the only two he didn't have.
Only two he didn't have. Auburn, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Ole Miss.
I mean, Coach,
South Carolina, Tennessee,
supposedly Ole Miss,
Texas A&M.
Ole Miss threw more at him in NIL than anybody. Like he didn't take the best deal.
No, he took the best team.
Right.
Thank God he didn't go to Ole Miss.
I mean, at this point, you wish he would have. I mean, you take him off the field against LSU, it's a whole different game.
But then you'd have to see him again in a conference game.
Well, I mean, at least you got some film on him.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, like,
he put his film out against you.
But I mean, like,
wait till draft day.
But I mean, like,
that's gonna be miserable.
Oh my
I think
God.
it was just like the fact that he was at Michigan State because he was doing the same thing at Michigan State.
Yeah, you didn't get to see it?
I saw him and Marvin Harrison on the same field last season, and it was the same. Like they'd flip, Marvin Harrison would go score a touchdown, and the next drive they'd just throw one up to Keon Coleman, and it'd be back and forth, and then obviously Ohio State runs away with it because Michigan State's in the state that they're in.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Michigan State.
Jeez.
Holy cow. They're back in the middle of a coaching search. For some people at Michigan State, this might be best case scenario.
Get Izzo to coach the football team.
I mean, this Michigan State situation
terrible
for Mel Tucker.
Mel Tucker
is.
Let me show you where we'll be later.
Yeah. Oh.
Is that her?
Yes.
Yes. He just had another picture of them together. So
they're pictured together on
oh no.
Yeah, this is bad, coach.
Oh no.
In a bad spot.
So
Thumbnail?
bring back the picture, Stewie.
Thumbnail today?
Has to be.
Set the expectation.
Brenda Tracy.
Oh, this is a better picture of her.
This is Brenda Tracy. And as we said,
that's Mel Tucker, former Michigan State head coach.
He's suspended right now.
This story is.
I don't understand how they need further investigation.
They don't.
They've been knowing about this since December.
They don't. I mean, Michigan State looks bad here too.
Horrible.
I mean, Michigan
How
State.
have they been playing?
2-0. I mean, if I am a parent of one of these student athletes, if one of these players, I mean, like, I'm waking up this morning like pissed. Like, y'all been knowing about this, and now our kids have to deal with a season full of turmoil and backlash after they started 2-0 on the year.
Terrible look.
Do you know who the head coach is now?
Mark D'Antoni.
Mark D'Antoni.
Wait, they brought him back.
Run back,
They
coach.
brought him back.
What has he been hanging out?
He's been playing golf, they said.
Well, I think they promoted the longtime defensive coordinator.
And then they said, let's take one phone call.
And they said
318-794. Mark D'Antonio on line 1.
Mark, you got one?
I'm finishing up on 18 here. What y'all got?
I mean,
shit.
Mark's probably looking at the paycheck thinking, hey, hold on.
Take that deal.
I mean,
I got Kirk Cousins here, all right?
Yeah.
Has there ever been a bigger bag fumble than this one? I'm trying to think of the money. Michael Vick comes to mind on the dog ring. He got it back.
Yeah.
I think Michael Vick signed two
$100 million deals.
contracts.
The first
after
$100
that.
million deal in the NFL.
He definitely signed the first one with Atlanta, but I think after the one that he lost, I think he signed two. I think he signed one with Philly. I know he signed one with Philadelphia. And he may have signed another one. He may have signed like an extension to that as well.
The Kevin Kolb game. Mike Vick and the Kelly Greens came in after Kolb got a concussion and just
Monday night against Washington?
No, that was that was his coming out party. LaRon Landry talking all that noise to Deshaun Jackson, and we put 80 on your head first play of the game.
I mean that
throw
that Michael Vick throws to Deshaun Jackson at the start of that Monday night game might be the prettiest pass I've ever seen.
That's what's underrated about Michael Vick is
his throwing.
Oh my God! Jason Kelsey was talking about it on their podcast,
yeah.
And he was like, I could hear it coming by my head whenever I was snapping it to him. He's like, it sounded different.
We went to the Sugar Bowl in '99.
Did you?
Yeah, we were there. Travis Minor was the starting running back for that team.
Yeah.
In Florida State. They were lucky to win that. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Vic caught on late.
It was Peter
had him.
Warwick.
Peter Warwick ran a punt back.
Peter Warwick ran a punt back. He caught a fly. I mean, like all the talk was Warwick. Nobody really knew about Vic at that point. And by the first quarter, everybody in the country was talking about Michael Vick.
Houdini and cleats.
I mean, it was some of the stuff that you thought like video games were made of. And his throwing form.
Oh, it's so gorgeous.
It was like It was Brian Perilou.
Yes, that's exactly who it reminds me of. Just like, how does it come out your hand like that?
It was so smooth, dude. It was like just this one motion of throwing that, and you could hear the thumb pop on both of them. Like the thumb would pop of the ball coming out of their hand.
You could hear the nail on the leather.
Which is kind of the universal of like, this thing is humming.
Yeah. I mean, he was breaking hands in practice.
Absolutely.
And they said that, I think Warren Moon is the only other comparison where you have of like just sheer arm talent, where they said it would, when you would get the ball back, you could see where his fingernail would scrape off on the leather. It was come off his hand so hot.
The single best highlight I think I've ever seen in football is when Vic splits the safeties for Minnesota and throws the ball into. He probably throws that thing into the upper deck.
Oh, it's gone.
I mean, like,
and then he goes straight to the tunnel.
Throws it out of the sight of the picture. But I mean, in it, like that sight when you're running at that in the moment has got to be one of like the most uncompetitive, intimidating thing. Like, you usually probably like go back and watch film and you're like, holy cow, how did I do that? You know what I mean? Like, what was I thinking when I did that? Because you're so just like in it, in that moment when you've got two safeties that look like they know they have the angle on him. Like they're crashing down. Vic, Stewie, can you bring this up?
Was it the fake slide?
No. That was in Carolina.
Is this a playoff game?
Yeah, 1999.
I think it is a playoff game. To win the game in
Against
overtime against the Vikings, he takes a quarterback like sweep and goes 60 yards. And as he's running into the middle of the field, there are two safeties that are like converging in on him, and he totally
just
splits
the
them.
gap. It looked like
They
on
run
a
into each other.
motorcycle. Yeah.
I mean, like they run into each other. It's one of the craziest things that you'll ever see.
What was it like to see
that.
him in person?
Oh my God, man. Well, I mean, like we used to go to all the Saints Falcons game. I mean, we were there on the Miracle on Monday night when Gleason blocked the punt. He was the quarterback.
He fumbled out of bounds.
Yeah, he was shook. I mean, the whole they were all they walked into that was Hell's Kitchen that night, bro.
You could have been the 88 Bears.
It didn't matter.
86 Bears, yeah.
85 Bears.
Yeah, you didn't have a chance.
Looks like the 85.
They brought Gleason back. And then they fumbled the opening kickoff.
Got stripped.
Blocked the punt, though.
Yeah, they did block a punt.
Right here.
Is this the Minnesota game?
Mm-hmm.
He's in the white uniforms with the gray pants.
Is this the first time you've seen this, Stewie?
I've probably seen him before.
Oh, it's a highlight that just is on TV all the time.
I'm a Vic fan.
Because Vic's a Hall of Famer.
He's my favorite player of all time. Yeah,
I think Vic's a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. He did it twice. He had 2 careers. Yes.
This is so good. Look at him.
He never was throwing that ball at any point.
Watch this, dude.
Go!
That's a linebacker to safety.
And then he spins him around and let me hurl this thing. Goodbye.
Oh, I thought it was more than that.
And he just goes straight to the tunnel.
Let's just get out of here.
I'm out of here, boys.
I think he won in Green Bay as a rookie.
He was the first. I don't know if he was a rookie, but he was the first, I believe, quarterback to win an opposing playoff game at Green Bay.
It was nuts.
Against Brett.
He was legit, man.
I just wish he would have. I don't know. Wish he was
I
younger. I wish he was just
get
put him
those 3 years back.
Put him in a time capsule.
Just get those 3 years back.
Yeah.
I mean, you took him out of his prime.
Ugh.
Out of his prime.
It helped him though.
It did.
It made him better.
It did.
Because I think he realized.
I mean, it was the Tyrann Mathieu Jr. thing.
Yeah.
Junior year thing.
Haven't heard much from Brett Favre these days.
Allegedly. When's volleyball season?
Pat McAfee shouted him out on game day the other day.
God, it's so funny.
Like, shout out to Brett Favre.
He's suing me.
He did. He did. I thought that it was a great drop. Because it was about somebody suing him.
He's like, don't sue us.
He was like, sue me.
Brett.
Shout out Brett Favre.
They're going to run Pat McAfee into the ground.
Yeah.
He's doing College Game Day on Friday and on Saturday. He's doing his own show from college campus, and then he's doing the game. And if you don't like him, you're just not going to.
This is a Pat McAfee
but you're going to keep seeing him.
Propaganda.
Yes.
Wait, did you see the screen go out on game day?
Yes.
Saturday?
Yeah.
And Corso was trying to make it spiggity.
Dude?
Kirk Herbstreit's running a old person.
It feels like he's
abuse.
puppeteering.
It's abuse.
He's like telling him what to do.
It is abuse what they do to Lee Corso. I cannot believe that nobody in Lee Corso's family has stepped up and been like, okay,
they have to be stealing from him.
He needs to go home.
Like, we need the check.
This is enough.
Are they paying him? He wouldn't know.
Drooling on the set. I mean, like the pencil. I mean, like my kid's like, is this a joke?
Mitch McConnell.
Dixon Taekwondo.
You like first off, I
would put Lee Corso up against Mitch McConnell.
I don't get the shtick anymore.
He
doesn't know what he's doing.
He doesn't even know what he's talking
He couldn't
about.
he couldn't get Bevo on the head.
Like it was like,
give me that.
This is abuse, man. This is.
It's painful.
You're pointing and laughing at this old man.
Herb Street's laughing.
They all are.
And he doesn't know.
He's
called the Buckeyes, the Cowboys. And he was just all over the place. And they did the play the song, and they played Sweet Home Alabama, and they did the record scratch, and Corso was just, where am I? Doing this whole bit. And he put Bevo on, and then he can't even wave anymore.
It's painful to watch. I mean, like, I feel bad for him. I fell in a hole a couple of weeks ago.
Are you okay?
Watching some classics on YouTube of LSU football. Just one of these things where you're looking for things, and then I settled on the 1987 LSU at Georgia game on ESPN. Mike Patrick is the play-by-play. Lee Corso is doing the color. And Lee Corso's probably 50.
Yeah.
45.
Sunshine Scooter.
I mean, like, he is on. He is his commentary is funny. He knows and is well prepared. I mean, I look at like that, and then like you still see him on the set, and you want people that watch college football to take him serious.
I don't think so. I think they're just.
You got to see the videos that Kirk Herbstreit puts out before game day.
I saw those too.
I send them to you every Saturday.
It's unbelievable. Thank you. Stewie's great at Twitter.
He's like bullying him. Like, hold up, I got you.
But he looks weird now too. His skin looks like a lizard.
What have they done to him?
It's makeup. It's just old, man.
And he spoiled where College Game Day was going to be. On accident.
Wait, where is it going to be?
Colorado.
Oh God!
And he wasn't supposed to say it. Everybody on set was like, "Lee,
damn."
They go, maybe if Colorado wins, we'll see if we go to Colorado. They're like, Lee Corso. How did he remember that? Or he didn't know.
Remembers everything.
Corso still
like
trapped.
It feels like abuse.
Colorado wins. We go to College Game Day. We'll go to Boulder. Kirk, we'll be there, so it'll be good. Colorado's going to win this game.
Oh God!
Game day implications: Nebraska, Colorado.
Hit a like, share, and comment. We appreciate you being here on this month.
It looks like he's in the hospital.
Down here. What, you got your own area down here?
What are they doing to
Is that him?
Is that your voice practice stuff?
Yeah, trills like this for my voice.
It's haunting.
This is
Good
painful.
morning.
Still moving.
Way to go.
How we doing?
And then Kirk Herbstreit show.
This is the Kirk Herbstreit. We're in Tuscaloosa.
Yes, Texas is going to win.
I was going to say last week.
Make it whispered. I don't care. Texas is going to win this game. That big upset. And knock your team off of the number one in the league.
I know. I got Alabama winning all.
I read that. Front runner, yeah. You'll always be Nick Saban's favorite.
Why do you like Texas?
Because they get
Is it more about Texas or more about Bama?
I like Texas. Field goal kicker. The last year they had the best looking team physically
Field
I
goal
saw
kicker.
last year. They got matured, had a bunch of guys, and I'm telling you, and Bert Auburn,
Yeah.
field goal kicker. He kicked 4 against Alabama last year.
Yeah.
He's already kicked 3 this year in the opener. He can be the difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Feels like he's
Here's a-
visiting at the
here's a
hospital.
name
It is.
for you.
This
In
is hospice.
Alabama, Bert Auburn.
Yeah. I love it. I love that.
Poor Kirk. He's playing.
That is.
He's
playing caretaker.
It's painful.
They look like they were in the hospital.
That
did.
felt like
Felt
the
like
hospital.
All right, have a good
expected
Monday.
to be in a gown.
Hit the like, share, comment. Appreciate you being here. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Compliments of
Kirk
R&B
doing that
Builders.
to him. It's rude. He's bullying him.
Hey, Chino, let my headphones up, bro. Right there. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9.
Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. It's the hottest show around, we ain't gotta flex. Call up G, we get it done, we earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in, where they going next. Throw up the L's, now we lit, band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live, mic'd up for show. Open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you